going to be telling you how to set up these NERD dampers. Inside this, you will see the two pistons and the knobs for the ends. There's also a QR code there, which would not work on my phone, so this is a tutorial for that. And inside the casing, as you can see as I'm opening there are two grub screws for the little knob, the red knobs there. Obviously, any grub screw is 1.5 millimeter. So I just put them in so that way I don't lose them, because I always put them back into that case so that way I don't lose them. There is a white logo and the positive and minus showing you that it's going up that way onto the piston, because these dampers will be upside down when we make them, or when we install them. You will need threaded ball ends. You will not need those. You will also need the ball end caps. You will also need the Yokomo blue O-rings again, and the springs of your choice. The O-ring grease that I use, again, everything will be in the description. And the only thing I don't have on here at the point in time is the black diaphragms from Yokomo. You will see them later on in the video. And those are the actual shock stays right there. The black ones in the bottom left, that's what we'll be actually using. So here we are, just taking apart the pistons. Just drilled holes. I was just showing you what I did. Obviously we're just going to go fast through this. Taking apart a shock is not rocket science, so I think we can all agree that taking it apart is part of how we got to do this. They were originally on the vehicle, so now I'm just taking off all of the heavy oil with a dry rag. Again, these rags will be in the description. Just what I use is just a shop rag. So I'm just taking everything out. Everything. I don't want any type of cross-contamination. I want to be very, very dry and everything. Again, like I said, what I did with the other ones, those are the threaded ball caps, or the ball ends, and I just want to put them together so that way I don't lose anything. I had an issue with this one. I ended up changing it out later. But again, I clean the inside, I clean the outside, making sure there's no contamination whatsoever. As you can see, there's still oil in there. So I'm just trying to get everything out with a dry rag so that way I can get the bulk of the oil out. Be sure to check everything very thoroughly. As you can see, you can still see there's a lot of oil in it, so we don't want that. What we need, after we do with a dry rag, I have these alcohol wipes that I bought on Amazon that work pretty well for this application. You can dip them in isopropyl alcohol. I just tend to use these because I can easily handle it better. So I'm just looking over very carefully. Again, I just don't want any type of cross-contamination. And I do this with every single part, minus the brand new parts. Again, it's just the alcohol. This is just going over another one. As you can see right there, it's not clean, so I'm going to go back in there very thoroughly. Get anything that you can find out. Now it's nice and circular. Definitely know it's clean on the inside of that damper. So I take off the ring for it. I make sure I wipe everything down. Again, I don't want cross-contamination. I cannot stress that enough. It'll ruin your shock and reduce the life of it drastically. Whether it's swelling O-rings or something's not working right. With this shock set, they do recommend you use their shock oil, which I do have. It is the 30 weight because, well, that's all they had. So with that, I will show you that in a little bit. Just going through over everything again, making sure everything's all dry and ready to go. And here we go. Got the associated O-ring grease. So here we are going to be starting putting it together. All I do is just touch it in my finger. You can see there's not much on it, but it's not a big O-ring, so it's not like I need to go crazy with it. I have the tamper right there. I'm trying to keep all the O-ring grease in. And be careful of these pistons. They are fragile. I do know a few people that have bent them, taking them out. So as you see here, I'm trying to be very careful with it because there is a threaded rod inside of that. So sometimes I put the O-ring in first, sometimes I don't, but either way, put the O-ring all the way back and stuff it in there. Then after that, you get the shaft guide. You slide that on. Make sure the collar is facing down towards the threaded area. Then you put the cap over that, sealing in the O-ring. That way there's going to be no leakage. Making sure everything works good. If everything works good, then you can't complain and everything's going to be beautiful. Alright, here we are now. I'm going to be showing you, I don't know why I got the 3 going up there, but whatever. This is the shock oil that I have. It is the HRC 30 weight shock oil. And struggling to get it off. There we go. It is red. It is a mineral based shock oil. I like that it comes with the little spout right there. As you see, HRC 30 weight. It is a mineral oil again. So just like my normal dampers, I always pour it in about 3/4 of the way. Then up and down, try to get all the air bubbles out. As you can see, they're just bubbling in. Try to get a closer spot of it. Try not to make more. So I add a little bit more. Not to the very, very top where we need it, but good 90% full. Just trying to get all the air bubbles out. Make sure, because obviously air bubbles are bad. We want it to be a fully oiled shock. Or damper, whichever one you want to call it. So with that, we will put it in the holder for it. This is from MST. It is their tire changer. This will also be in my description, as well as, again, all of these pieces that you will see in here. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I will be glad to answer them for you. Again, here we are, just getting all the oil out, making sure everything's copacetic. And as this is going on, I spin it. It's just me. I try to do as best as possible to get all the bubbles out. More air out, the better. Less time you gotta wait and have all the bubbles dissipate on their own. I don't have a vacuum for them like a lot of people do. It's not needed for me. I like the old school style like this. So then I just put it in there and then let the air bubbles come out. After the air bubbles come out, we are here now. I topped it off. Very top it off. So what I do is I get all the stuff out of the way. I hold the shock with a shop rag. And just because me personally, I'm a slob when it comes to this, I always have excess come out. I always keep the piston all the way down, make sure everything is that way. I put the diaphragm on the side and make sure it floats in there, so that way I know there's no air. I push it down and all of the, or some of the shock oil will come out. I will put the top of the ball cap on. And then I have the shock topper on it. I don't know what to call it offhand. I hold it in an awkward way just because I like to put it over and make sure nothing's going to move that shock bladder or diaphragm. And I twist it down until I can't hold it with my thumb and ring finger. And I turn it until it doesn't go anymore. And then I just move this to the Yokomo spot so it has a display type thing. And I just wipe everything down. Here we go again with the second shock, making sure the shock is all the way down. Filling it up all of the way. Again, just like I did before, I'm going to put the shop towel around that. I think I did it better the second time. And with that, I put the diaphragm on, or bladder, whichever one you want to call it. Like I said, it floats a little bit. I push down, make sure everything comes out on all the sides. That's just the way I make it work. That way there's no bubbles. Again, the shock cap. And then the screw-on cap. With my awkward way of holding it. After I screw this on, keeping the piston all the way down, and move that to where it looks good. And then after everything is all done, I'm just going to show you how to put this on and what your shock should feel like. Like I said, I already have the grub screw in. Again, it is a grub screw, so it is the 1.5 millimeter. If you notice on this, I did put it in upside down. So I did change that out later on. But see how it comes. I pull it all, I make sure it's all the way out. So when I push it in, it's nice, very nice. But as you pull this thing down, or twist it down towards the negative, it acts like a actual car damper, like a shock. So you keep going even further, it's harder to push in, and it's nice to come out. So that's the big adjustability on that. It's just a pain in the butt to change springs out if you wanted to change your spring rate. For the most part, you want to keep it all the way out and then work your way in. So that way you know what works best for you. As those other pieces I was telling you about. So those are a threaded piece. So after you put your spring on, as we are here, I'm going to pull all the way down, and this just threads onto that shock shaft. There's no real binding or anything like that. They're brand new, so all of their HRC stuff is like super high quality. I'm just messing around at this point in time. So again, you have your ball ends that have the threaded part into it, and you make that go all the way down as it touches the shock stay. Shock stay should go all the way down. You don't have to tighten it all the way, like super tight, just until it stops, because you don't have to go crazy with tightening that. Anyway, just making sure everything's all copacetic, making sure that's all the way down, along with the ball end and the attached piece. Now, see how it has an extra piece on it? That's where the red cap comes in. Again, I'm here just telling you that white part is going to go up. It fits on perfect. It doesn't go down. It's very flush with the outside. 1.5 millimeter Allen. Just give that a little snug right there. Don't over tighten it, because you can mess them up. So again, I'm all the way out. It's nice and nice. And I will even show you right now that when you go down, even the spring rate changes. So see how slow it opens? And you go back to the all the way open, and it's like butter. So that's how everything gets done. Now your turn to go get some.